Hello and good evening to you. Coming up on BBC London, the family of a 12-year-old who was killed by a falling branch while playing on a rope swing say they're deeply disappointed after a coroner rules her death as a shocking accident. Also tonight, a final day of campaigning in the capital before Londoners head to the polls tomorrow to decide who runs their local councils.
Cost of living is insane, but it's the same everywhere.
Council tax is too high.
There's a lot of poverty, a lot of homelessness in the borough, and there's a real housing crisis.
Our political editor will have all you need to know. Plus, in 20 years after Arsenal reached the Champions League final.
I can't believe it. Epic, epic, epic football.
I can't even put on the words. That's how amazing it was.
I'm over the moon. I'm over the moon.
And returning to where it all began 25 years ago, we joined some of the cast of the first Harry Potter film at Leavesden Studios. A very warm welcome. Good to have you with us. First tonight, a coroner at the inquest into the death of a 12-year-old girl who was killed after being crushed by a falling branch while playing on a rope swing has ruled that it was a shocking accident. It happened in Banstead in 2024. Today, her family said they were deeply disappointed with the conclusion. The inquest also heard that Surrey County Council had failed to inspect the tree months earlier. Charlie Rose has this report.
Described by her family as an amazing young woman whose smile and laughter could light up any room. Brooke Wiggins was playing here on a rope swing when the tree branch fell away and hit her. She was days away from her 13th birthday. Today, a coroner ruled that Brooke's death was an accident, but her father argues if the council had taken more care to ensure public safety, his daughter may still be alive.
Every day I wake up the same nightmare and that, do you know what I mean? And I'm never going to meet my grandkids or see how she progressed in life with her career or whatever and stuff like that, or getting married. And today, what he come out with today, he was like, to be honest with you, hand on my heart, he might as well have just spat in my face.
Well, the court heard that Brooke was here with two friends when the branch to which the rope swing was attached suddenly snapped, crushing the 12-year-old beneath its weight. Realising they couldn't move the branch themselves, the friends got help from people living at a nearby caravan park and called the emergency services. But despite desperate attempts to save Brooke, she died at the scene. The inquest heard Surrey County Council failed to inspect the tree months earlier and had not carried out work that could have made inspecting safety issues easier. But Assistant Coroner Ivor Collett dismissed the criticism. He said the incident was not readily foreseeable by either of the local authorities involved, who, he said, had reasonable systems in place. He added that bearing in mind their duties, risks and the public resources they have to manage, both of the councils could not reasonably be expected to have done more in a way which would have prevented what he found was a terrible accident.
Obviously, it's been incredibly difficult. Brooke should still be here today. And we strongly believe that important lessons need to be learned around public safety and tree maintenance.
Surrey County Council's chief executive said in a statement that he'd like to extend his sincere condolences to the family and friends of Brooke Wiggins. He said the council has played a full part in the inquest and took note of the coroner's conclusion that the 12-year-old's death was a tragic accident. Charlie Rose, BBC London.
Coming up later on tonight's programme.
Exactly a week on from the stabbings here in Golders Green, a dedicated team of 100 additional officers is to be deployed to London's Jewish areas. I'll have the details.
Now, it's been the final day of campaigning ahead of tomorrow's local elections, when up to 6 million Londoners will be able to vote on who they want to run their council services. We could see the biggest shake-up of the capital's political map in a generation. So what can we expect? Well, our political editor, Carl Mercer, is here and joins me. Hi there, Carl. You have been following all the developments.
Yeah, we have, and as you say, I think the map of London is going to change somewhat dramatically, and it's Labour, actually, who have the most to lose. They currently run 21 of the 32 councils in London, 1,100 of the 1,800 councillors, but they are under a threat from multiple fronts, which is probably why Sir Keir Starmer joined the campaign last night, and he did say to me, it is going to be very challenging because they're facing a challenge from the Greens in inner London, from Reform in some areas, and also from the Tories in places like Westminster and Wandsworth. So tough for them, but also tough for the Tories, which may be why their leader, Kemi Badenoch, was out on the road in a branded cab this morning on a tour around some of the outer ring of London. I said to her, is this a cling on to what you've got tour? And she said, no, not quite. We are going for every vote. We are still fighting for everything, but they do face a challenge, particularly from Reform in those outer London boroughs. And looking at that, you might think, well, it's a national election. Look, they're national figures. But actually, for a lot of people, it's still the local issues that count, as we found out.
We've had a lot of robberies. There's always something happening here.
There are a lot of people on the streets here, drugs and all that.
Cost of living is insane, but it's the same everywhere.
There's a lot of poverty, a lot of homelessness in the borough, and there's a real housing crisis.
The shops close and we get another chicken shop open. And
I think we need more spots where we can just have good, nutritious food.
We need a line-back spot.
Oh, we need a line-back spot. Let's go.
What would you like to see improved that are just not so good about that?
Council tax is too high. It's a very old town. Just touch up things that need to be touched up. I think it's the work of the council.
There's a lot of people that are really suffering from addiction. It feels like they've just kind of been left.
If you could change one thing about Croydon, then what would you change?
Just clean up the area a bit more.
We could do something about all the empty buildings, maybe make some more community spaces, some libraries. If we could bring those back, that'd be great. Some places to take the kids.
And so, Carl, as you said, a big challenge for the two main established parties, which could mean that London's political map could look very different come Friday night and into the weekend. Yeah, I think multicoloured probably, because you've got the insurgent parties, haven't you, of Greens and the Reforms, and they've been out on the campaign stump today. We start with the Greens. They've been out in South London, or I think that's actually Reform, out in... oh, no, it is the Greens. There we go. Out in South London, one of their key targets, along with places like Hackney and Lewisham, which they're targeting some of the inner Labour strongholds. And if we move on to Reform, no councillors in London at the moment, but they are hoping to win councils in the capital for the first time ever, mainly around that Kent-Essex border, places like Havering, Bexley, and then round the other side to Hillingdon and maybe Croydon. So they're fancying their chances. And the Lib Dems also talking up their chances of doing more. This was Ed Davey down in Surrey today doing some campaigning because there's big elections there. But in London, in the southwest, they're looking to pick up Merton from Labour. So lots of challenges for the main two parties everywhere we look. OK. So, Carl, that's the politics of it all. What about the practicalities? Yeah, for Londoners, actually, the politicians can take a rest. For Londoners, if you want to go and vote, you can go from 7 o'clock in the morning tomorrow till 10 o'clock at night. If you're in the queue at 10, they'll still let you in, but make sure you are in that queue. You don't need to take your polling card with you, but you do need to take ID, and this caused a few problems last time. ID, normally a passport or a driving licence, but there are something like 20 forms of ID you can take, so you can go onto the Electoral Commission website and that will give you details of what you need to take along. Otherwise, you will be turned away if you don't have ID with you. In terms of results, some of the councils counting overnight, so we'll get about 10 results early Friday morning. We won't know the full picture for London probably until this time or a little later on Friday night. OK, some really useful advice there as well. Carl, thank you very much indeed. I know you're going to be following it closely and bringing us all the analysis and results, so thank you. That's Carl Mercer, our political editor. And of course, you can get more on the local elections, including details of the candidates standing where you live, on our website by popping in your postcode. There's also a 60-second guide to the local elections from Carl Mercer, who you just saw there. Just go to bbc.co.uk/London or just scan the QR code and that will take you straight there. Next, Scotland Yard is creating a new team of around 100 officers dedicated to protecting London's Jewish communities. It follows a series of arson attacks on Jewish sites in London, as well as a double stabbing in Golders Green a week ago. Latest figures show the number of anti-Semitic hate crimes recorded last month by the Met was the highest in 2 years. We can join our reporter Alpa Patel, who's in Golders Green tonight. Alpa.
Yes, Riz, exactly a week on since those attacks here in Golders Green. On that day, 2 Jewish men were stabbed. A man has been charged with 3 counts of attempted murder, and that attack is being treated as an act of terrorism. Well, today, new data from the Metropolitan Police has shown a significant rise in anti-Semitic hate crime. In April, the Met recorded 140 incidents compared to 98 in March and 67 in February. Barnet recorded the highest number in April with 51 incidents. That's more than a third of the total. Well, today the Met announced a dedicated team of 100 additional officers will be deployed to London's Jewish communities. How will it be paid for, you may ask? Well, the government has said that it is going to give £25 million of funding. 18 million will be given to the Met Police, so the bulk of that funding. Well, Russell Langer is from the Jewish Leadership Council. Here's his response to the additional officers.
It's welcome to hear about these efforts to ensure an increased policing force around Jewish community locations. As the Met put in their announcements, up until now, it's been short-term surges, and that hasn't been sufficient, and that's been shown to not be sufficient. So I welcome that they are adding in these 100 extra officers, especially for this duty.
So welcome news, but questions are being asked over exactly where these officers will be based and how long for. What the Met have told us is that although the extra officers will focus on anti-Semitic threats for now, they could go on to protect other communities experiencing a spike in hate crime. But of course, this is all at a time of increased pressure on policing and also at a time of increased threat level as well. Back to you, Riz.
With the latest there, thank you very much. Let me bring you a roundup now of some of the day's other stories. A woman has been given a suspended sentence after failing to stop at the scene of a crash that killed 2 children in Essex. 16-year-old Roman Castleton and his 9-year-old sister Darcy were riding an e-scooter in Pitsea when the collision happened a year ago. Demonte Ziobrit, who's 21, didn't call an ambulance and left the scene. The family of 25-year-old Keanu Taylor, who was fatally shot at a barbecue in Brixton a few days ago, say their hearts are absolutely broken. In a statement, they said he was loved by everyone, with his smile lighting up a room. 3 other people were taken to hospital. And 2 brothers who ran the London Marathon, one with a fridge on his back, have raised more than their goal of £1 million. Jordan and Kian Adams raised the money for Alzheimer's Society and their foundation for frontotemporal dementia. They lost their mum to the disease and both have inherited the gene that caused it. To a new series now that explores what it's like to be black and in the police force. The films shine a light on the experiences of current and former staff working in the Met. But what makes it unique is that it's children who get to ask the questions. Alison L has been hearing from some of those involved.
There were times when young black men will come up to me, people who are my age, call me names like sellout, coconut and other names.
A day in the life of Jennifer Donaldson. She spent 32 years in the Metropolitan Police, working her way up to inspector. Her story is one of those featured in Change Takes All, about the experiences of black people in the force.
Why did you become a police officer?
A series which also puts the spotlight on children as they do the interviewing.
I was really nervous, almost akin to being in the courtroom. Because I didn't know what the questions were going to be, and I had to really think about my responses, probably similar to when you're in a courtroom, and I wanted to make sure that I came across so that they understood and it was appropriate.
Right, back to leadership. The idea for this came from Selena Boyd. She launched the UK's first black children's magazines and now runs a film school to help nurture young black talent.
I wanted to start a series of documentaries that told the stories of, I'd say, incredible black people that never really get to tell their stories because the community doesn't really celebrate it as much as other people. So I wanted to explore, can we get children to interview? They come up with these amazing ideas.
Camera is rolling.
Watching you, scene one, take one.
Mark it. I interviewed the police called Stacia, and she was really kind. At first I was really scared, but then I got to know her.
The children who start really shy when they first join this camp or club, a few weeks later, they're so much more confident when they come back.
The films touch on the difficult relationship between the police and the black community. Those long-standing tensions were laid bare during the Brixton riots and the years that followed. Not an easy time if you were black and in uniform.
I did get abused, but I really thought it was important for me to speak to those young men when they called me names. And I can't think of a time when I wasn't able to turn them around.
Everyone has that struggle, but we've all overcome. And that's really important too, especially for the children coming up.
Selena plans to expand the series to highlight black people working in the NHS and judicial system, all with the aim of sparking debate, giving a new perspective and a voice to those whose stories aren't always heard. Alison Earle, BBC London.
Taking a look at other local stories on BBC News. In Berkshire, Richard Osman and Bill Bailey were among the famous faces receiving honours at Windsor Castle today. In Surrey, 3 peregrine falcon chicks have hatched from 5 eggs in a nest box on top of a Woking office block. Stand by for the other 2. And in Fine Voice, Essex has hosted a national town crier competition for the first time in 10 years. To find out more, just head over to the BBC News app. Now, this is the man of the moment for Arsenal fans as Londoner Bukayo Saka sends the club to the Champions League final, and the first time that's happened for 20 years. Meanwhile, across the river, excitement is building for Crystal Palace ahead of their own big European moment. Here's Chris Legg.
Shoot or pass. He shoots! And Saka is...
The way they lived every ball with us, it made it special and unique. I never felt that in the stadium. And we knew how much it meant to everybody. We put everything. The boys did an incredible job. And yeah, after 20 years and for the second time in our history, we are back in the Champions League final.
Now, for fans dreaming of a Premier League and Champions League double, the task of planning a pricey trip to Budapest for the final.
I had a speculative chat with the bloke who sits behind me over the weekend against Fulham, where he was suggesting renting a minivan and driving us 7 hours one day and 7 hours the next. I had a quick look at flights before we chatted, and they look upwards of £1,000. And you know, I can't really countenance spending that much money to go direct to Budapest. So I think I'm going to have to get creative.
I was in the pub yesterday with one of my mates who was saying, oh, I found one place on booking.com for €500, but that's already gone, and that's for one night. So, he said, and it's not a nice place. So, yeah.
Excitement building in South London too, as Crystal Palace prepare for tomorrow's against Shakhtar from the first leg. Especially so at Dolverton Primary, who have their own big match to prepare for. They've reached the Utilita Kids Cup final at Wembley. Goalkeeper Harry is a Palace fan.
How are you feeling ahead of the semi-final, second leg tomorrow?
I can't wait. If we win it, I'm going to go crazy, because then to the final, and it's just where we're supposed to be.
A Palace favourite, Glenn Murray, led the youngsters in training today.
As a former Crystal Palace striker, I've got to ask you, how do you rate their chances of winning their first European trophy?
Well, I mean, taking into consideration the advantage they've got going into tomorrow night, I think that they'll fancy their chances of getting to the final.
For Arsenal, though, the biggest stage in club football awaits. Chris Legg, BBC London.
What a night. Now, we know London has more than its fair share of visitor attractions, but is an area further out to the west growing in popularity as a tourist destination? From Britain's copy of the Bayeux Tapestry to its very own Banksy, Reading has seen a rise in international visitors. Kirsty O'Sullivan explains.
A tranquil day on the Thames. Perhaps surprisingly, this riverboat cruise departs from the heart of a busy, bustling Berkshire town.
Reading's position on the Thames is just one of the reasons that it's pulling in the tourists.
Recent research shows Reading is shaking off its stereotype as a stopover destination for business travellers.
So these are people coming, to see our history, maybe to visit the university, maybe to watch the football club, maybe to do a river trip, all sorts of different reasons. But actually, Reading is beginning to be on the map for overseas visitors, which is fabulous.
And speaking of maps, Reading is the official start point of the English leg of the famous Camino de Santiago route, something that's gaining in popularity.
It's just such a pleasure to see people from come abroad and come to this town and actually see it as a tourist destination. They value this, they really appreciate it and value it.
And it's possible to put a figure on that value too. The tourist economy in Reading's now worth an estimated £400 million.
Our story starts in 1064.
These visitors to Reading Museum have come to learn more about Britain's copy of the Bayeux Tapestry, which is housed here.
And Reading even has its very own Banksy.
I think we still have a job to do to change perceptions of what people, particularly people in the UK, think of Reading, because people go through Reading or they come to the festival here and they have particular views of it. But bit by bit, I think we are shaping those perceptions.
And while it may have stiff competition in nearby Windsor, Reading appears to be increasingly holding its own as a bona fide tourist destination.
Kirsty O'Sullivan. Well, to the magic of Harry Potter now, which has captivated millions right across the world. And in fact, the first time Hogwarts was brought to the big screen was 25 years ago. Today at the Hertfordshire studios, where much of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was filmed, some of the original cast members shared their magic memories of where it all began. Frankie McCann.
A sense of nostalgia on Diagon Alley for the Weasley family, revisiting the set they spent so many of their former years on.
Every time we've been back here since, we see something which sparks an old memory, and we're very lucky that there's something like this for us to come to and kind of have that connection again.
To be honest, it's like going into a time warp.
What would you like people to take from it? Is there anything that you just think, oh, please make sure you look at this, please take that in?
I'd say take memories, not artefacts. That's I'm going to get that out there first, because that's what I've been told.
As for their other Harry Potter family members, the memories are also flooding back.
It did actually feel like a family, didn't it? We didn't really have to make a lot of effort to pretend we were a family.
Oh yeah, lots of arguments.
It was a bit of shut up from me. Concentrate.
Still feels, I don't know, you go into, the Burrows set that we were just on, or you rewatch those first scenes, like when you first meet us all for the first time, whether that's Platform 9 3/4 or in our house in the Chamber of Secrets, like they're just such iconic kind of moments and scenes, and they're just so warm and cozy, and everyone feels, I feel like, truly at home when they watch these films. That's why people keep coming back to them.
It's not just the actors celebrating a quarter of a century since the first film, The Philosopher's Stone, was released. Some of those who created these sets are here too.
And what does it feel like for you two to be back here?
Oh, it's a complete privilege and honour, and a reminder that we are part of something that has changed so many minds and had such an impact.
Books were one of the things, Naomi, that we have to do a lot throughout all the films. And having a bookshop.
It's also a place they could let their imagination run wild.
Every single shelf that you see in there needs to have a fictional book spine on it, or piles of floating.
That must have been fun.
Yes, making stuff up.
And to celebrate the milestone, there are some extra treats in store.
This is something fans will have never seen before. You might recognise it. It is the chess set, and if you're lucky, you might see the magic happen.
As you walk in the footsteps of those who created this wizarding world. Frankie McCamley, BBC London.
OK, time to wave the weather wand. Not me. It's Kate that has the power, don't you?
I wish I did have a weather wand, actually, Riz. Not today, sadly. It was quite a chilly day today, wasn't it? Despite this. Nice blue sky first thing this morning. We had a few sunny spells, but we did have a northeasterly breeze to contend with. So despite this lovely sunshine, it did feel rather chilly. More cloud this afternoon, a few showers around mixed in there as well. A little bit brighter. This was quite late in the afternoon, a little bit brighter as we head into the evening. Now, as we head through the night, we still could get 1 or 2 showers, most of them fizzling out. There is a fair amount of cloud. It's a real mixed bag, actually. We've got some clearer spells where you've got the clear spells, especially further west, temperatures low single figures. Further east, where you've still got the likelihood of a couple of showers, more cloud, temperatures around 6 or 7 Celsius. Now, for tomorrow morning, we have got a fair amount of cloud, still could get a lingering shower, but some bright, some sunny spells. It's looking largely dry, but there could be shower almost anywhere. And if you are stuck underneath one, fairly slow moving as the wind is a bit lighter tomorrow. But temperatures a little bit warmer, 17 tomorrow, because the wind has shifted direction, starts to come from the southeast rather than the northeast. Now, overnight, Thursday into Friday, first band of showers clears. We'll get some clearer skies. Then more cloud coming up from the south, again bringing the chance of some showers as we head into Friday morning. Minimum temperature not quite so chilly, between 6 and 8 Celsius. So Friday, further showers likely, but they should lift away. We'll get some sunny spells developing, but with that sunshine warming up the temperature, could see some heavier showers. Temperatures a little bit warmer on Friday at 19 Celsius. Wind starts to veer more from the south as we head into Saturday. We could reach our peak in temperatures on Saturday, low 20s likely, but you'll notice for Sunday this little cold front just starts to shimmy its way south. It's again going to bring some cooler air as we head towards the end of the weekend and into the first part of next week. Still looking dry for Saturday. Few showers around on Sunday. Riz.
Kate, thanks ever so much. And that is it. But with voters heading to the polls tomorrow, we've got all you need to know about the local elections, including our 60-second explainer. And on our Instagram, something very different. Check out the cats in London everyone stops for. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. From me and everyone on the London team, whatever you're doing, do have a lovely evening. Bye-bye for now.